out there, leaving the land, hovering in New York Harbor, the eerie, shimmering place, with Green Liberty holding the giant flame. It was a great day, and Hart was one of those kids everyone really loves. He was still really funny when he drank, and his friends still encouraged him. Hart was a genius. He wrote his mother staunchly about the trip. I have never felt as encouraged, as free, or as clean. Think of me often as such, or not at all, for I hope you will understand me. So I'm going to skip to one more little chapter here. This chapter is called Renee, and some of you might know this guy, Rene Ricard. If you ever saw the Warhol movie, Chelsea Girls, him and Gerard Malanga sit for hours on a bed in the Chelsea hotel talking about, like, everything. But he was sort of like, he remains a New York star of a sort. Rene Ricard walked up to me one night at a reading. He wore a baseball jacket and jeans, with the cuffs rolled and white crew socks gleaming over his penny loafers. He was kind of a pretty fag, but tough. Later I heard he broke a glass in someone's face at 1U. Tonight he was sweet, and he introduced himself to me in a very soft voice. "I love Dodgems," he said, "and I would like to give you a poem for it." "Okay," I said, not understanding this phenomenon at all. Rene was famous. He had given a reading one night, not so long before that had an ad in Interview. The reading had a title, "I was born to live for him, to die for him, I could kill him." We were listening to the Sex Pistols, and I kept my blue coat on all night, drinking beers. Maybe I took another pill, it didn't matter. I was dancing by myself. That's what everybody did once punk came around. Disconnected and really angry looking was the style. What were you going to do, look at somebody and smile? "Stay if you want," I said Rose, after everybody else had left. I was her pet. I just sat there for a while in an old chair, my big reading. She had this one loft, and after it there was another dark, decrepit one on the Bowery I liked better, and finally one near FIT with white-painted floors all chipped. It was a world that lasted 7 or 8 years. My party was really about Anne, who Rose adored, and Anne was really nice to me when Rose was there, and vice versa. They had a thing, unlike that orange extension cord running across the floor. Writing is just what I do to frame my longing. I replace myself. The longer I live, the deeper it goes. It seems it will never end, this feeling. I throw a stone down and nothing ever comes up. I don't even get circles. About 10 years later, when all the love was worn down, I'm at a reading, and Rose, who no longer lives here, was in town. And my dog was lying under the table, and she goes, "What's her name?" And I said, "Rose." Rene explained to me about being gay. We were at MoMA. He introduced me to Arthur Dove. Look at that. Rene wanted to help. We were standing in a big gray museum, and an Arthur Dove painting was there on the little corner wall, like a flower on a stalk. It looked like one eye, surrounded by a ring of paint and rays of delicate but blinding light moving into the vapors of the painting into the green. It was the strangest combination of joy and sadness. It was totally pretty excess, yet controlled, like a thick diagram of the world, like a Bible. "I'm not gay," he said, with his hands in his pockets. "I'm not gay at all," he said. "Are you?" "No," I said. "Who would want that?" I shook my head. "I think it's horrible. I'm not happy. I'm never happy. I'm sad. I like queer better. We're queer. This is what we get. We have all these beautiful things." He waved his hands at everything there. "These are ours." We stood a moment in Rene's church. "I have to go have a cigarette now. I have parties to go to," he confessed. I followed him out, putting the huge building behind us. Maybe it was the Whitney. "Take one of mine," he insisted, and I fumbled with his pack, Winston's. I never thought for a second when I named her Rosie that there was any connection. My dog is 15, and I live with her daily, and she's a big-eyed sage and genius, having never said a word. Rene came up to my apartment one day. He just buzzed. He was one of those people who did that. "Do you have any money?" He spun on my office chair and immediately got up and moved a painting from there to there. "Do you have a hammer?" "Here it is," I said, sticking my head under the tub. I would let him do anything. One night there was a party at John Giorno's, and he started dancing with me. Rene did. You know, the kind of waist-holding thing, like a bump or a disco dancing? I was stumbling, feeling very uncoordinated and bulky. I really can't dance like that. He was making me look like a fool. Rose sat there watching. It was like he was having a joke with her about me. What a clod. He introduced me to somebody once as Eileen, who writes these really hot, sexy poems about drinking beer and lying in bed. He put the small green painting that Robert did under the big Virgin of Guadalupe poster that was there. "Isn't that good?" he said. "It's a shrine." I guess he was high. Isn't that what makes people move paintings in other people's homes? But I think in the rich people's homes, painters and everywhere, he did the same thing, and he left there with much more money than I had, like thousands.